Have you heard of the Hwangboksa temple site? It is located on the northeast foot of Mount Nangsan in Gyeongju, where a 3-story stone pagoda and some stones remain. It's outside an ordinary rural village with no notable scenery. In spring, yellow radish flowers bloom where butterflies fly here and there. Bamboos on the side of the road sway idly in the wind. They seem to have no other aim than to waste time. One of the white butterflies may lead your eyes to a historical site information board. It says this ordinary 3-story stone pagoda is a national treasure. It was built in 692 CE during the reign of King Hyosung of Silla. But how was this lonely pagoda designated as a national treasure, and how could they know the date of its erection? When the tower was being dismantled and repaired in 1942, invaluable relics and treasures were found. This is probably why the pagoda was designated as a national treasure. Inside the roof stone on the second floor, one outer gilt-bronze box, 2 inner gold and silver sarira reliquaries, and 2 pure gold Buddha statues were found. All the treasures found in the tower are now on display in the National Museum of Korea in Seoul. Let's go there. This is the room where the artifacts from the pagoda are displayed. Here are 2 pure gold Buddhas. This is the gilt-bronze sarira box, which contained 2 Buddhas and other items. But the most surprising thing is the inscription on the inner side of the lid, which has 18 lines with 20 characters in each line. And there are 99 small pagodas engraved on the side surface of the box, which now looks black. Here are lots of beads and gold and silver bowls that were also in the box. The inscription offers a wonderful key to answer and solve so many questions and mysteries. According to the inscription, when the King Sinmok passed away in 692, Queen Sinmok built this 3-story stone pagoda along with her son King Hyosung. The temple was the royal temple for the sacred soul of the king's ancestors. At this time, many tributes such as a gold Buddha might have been put in a pagoda. King Hyosung was the son of King Sinmok, grandson of King Munmu. King Sinmok built a temple in memory of his father, King Munmu, near Daewangam Rock, where he spread his father's ashes. Likewise, when King Sinmok died, Queen Sinmok and her son, King Hyosung, built the pagoda in Hwangboksa temple not far from the tomb of King Sinmok. You might find the life of Queen Sinmok deeply moving. She was a daughter of Kim Hum-un and Princess Yoseok, daughter of King Muyal Kim Chunchu. When her father was killed in a battle against the Baekje in 655 CE, she was either very young or had not yet been born. Princess Yoseok, her mother, became a widow at a very young age. But when Queen Sinmok was told that her mother would remarry and that the proposed husband was an itinerant monk, she couldn't believe it. Her mother's fiancé was neither a layman nor a monk, but a vagrant wandering all over the country with all sorts of tales told about him. The stepfather, Wonhyo, was actually the most famous monk and Buddhist scholar in Silla and China. He violated the Buddhist precept of lifelong celibacy in order to marry the princess. To Queen Sinmok's surprise, a son Seolchong was born from this union. In short, Queen Sinmok and Seolchong were brother and sister. Did Wonhyo have a happy married life with his family? Did he love his wife and children? If this was the case, numerous hermitages called Wonhyo would not have been founded all over the country. Wonhyo wandered around the unified Silla, spreading his Buddhist teachings. But the mother, Princess Yoseok, was different. Her devotion to her children was extraordinary. The daughter married her nephew, King Sinmok, to become Queen Sinmok. Her husband was her cousin. Her brother studied in the National Academy called Gukak, becoming the most famous scholar and writer of Silla. Queen Sinmok was married to the king for about 9 years. When her husband passed away in 692 CE, she must have been heartbroken. You might well say that the stone pagoda is made of her longing and her tears. 8 years later, in 700, Queen Sinmok passed away, and in 702, her son King Hyosung also died. His younger brother King Sungdok ascended to the throne. In 706, in the 5th year of his reign, he prayed for the repose of his mother and brother and wished that he might become an ideal Buddhist king and introduce a peaceful era in Silla. The king might well have put another gold Buddha and other items into the pagoda. The inscription tells us what tributes were enshrined in the pagoda in 706. These included 4 sariras, one small pure gold statue of Amitabha Buddha, the first edition of the great Dharani Sutra, etc. What were actually found were 2 gold statues of Buddha, 2 boxes of gold and silver bowls, glass plates, glass beads, etc. However, there was no evidence of the great Dharani Sutra. So let's take a look at these gold Buddhas. The gold is so pure that it hasn't lost its splendor. One is a standing statue and the other is a seated one. Both are designated as national treasures of Korea. The standing Buddha on the left is about 14 centimeters tall. It is thought that it was enshrined when the stone pagoda was erected in 692. The Buddha holds up his right hand, making the hand gestures Abhaya Mudra, and the left hand holds the end of the hem. The halo is jewel-shaped, and the flame patterns are intricately flat-worked on the edges. The seated Buddha on the right is about 12 centimeters high. It is thought to have been enshrined in 706. It seems more elegant and natural. You can identify the characteristics of the unified Silla Buddhas in this way. Lotus petals are placed in the center of the halo just behind the head. The hand mudra is also characteristic of the Amitabha Buddhas of the 7th century. Historians often struggle to decipher inscriptions such as this one, always paying attention to historical fact. However, they tend to neglect the strong emotions and the sensibility ingrained into the lines. Let's appreciate this unique style of writing. See how the author praises King Sinmok for his virtuous rule. Generally, the saint can afford to enlighten their people in the world of confusion. They are so virtuous that they can deliver all the sentient beings in the world without any compulsion, even if they appear to be doing nothing. We wish that King Sungdok might live as long as the mountains and rivers. His statues might be as dignified as the Alchan River, and the thousands of his descendants might be afforded the auspicious light of 7 treasures. What a magnificent metaphor and hyperbole! We wish especially that the queen of King Sungdok might be like the nymph of the moon, and that her lifespan might be as eternal as several eons. The virtues and beauty of the queen are wishfully compared to the nymphs of the moon. We wish that all his relatives prosper long and that the descendants bear profuse fruit on the branches of their treasure. We wish, in addition, that virtues and dignity of Brahma Deva, King Sakura, and the 4 Maharajas might become brighter and that might make the world peaceful with their unrestricted powers. We may agree that these devout Buddhist metaphors are extremely hard to express without the author's deep faith in Buddhism. They are embedded in the exquisite text like jewels. The inscriptions didn't forget to record the administrators of this project, one of whom was the high-ranking Kim Sun-won. 14 years later, Kim Sun-won succeeded in marrying his daughter to King Seongdeok, making her Queen Sodeok. 33 years after that, another of his daughters became the queen of King Hyosung. She was called Queen Haemyeong. What complicated relationships! In short, King Hyosung married his aunt, and Queen Haemyeong's mother-in-law or mother queen was her elder sister. If you appreciate the style of this inscription, you may remember that the beautiful texts on the backs of the Gamsansa temple Buddhas were authored by Seolchong. Taking into consideration that this inscription was composed in 706 CE, and Seolchong's famous texts were written in 719 and after 720. You may suppose that Seolchong might have authored this inscription too, or had an influence on it. You may visit the Hwangboksa temple site again. Nothing seems to have changed. There is no sign of the history of Queen Sinmok. How can this site be so indifferent to the desires and griefs of the royal family? Archaeologists recently excavated this site and identified the site of the main shrine, the east and west wooden pagodas, the middle gate, and the cloisters. They acquired more than 700 artifacts such as gilt bronze standing Buddhas, gilt bronze Buddha plaques, fragments of a stele, rich end tiles, green glazed bricks, etc. However, they found themselves confronted with more questions and mysteries than before. Even more surprising is the fact that unfinished royal tomb nearby has now revealed its whole shape. For over 1,000 years, these stones were buried and scattered in the rice paddies. No one knew exactly what they were originally used for. Some scholars argue that these stones had been prepared for the tomb of King Hyosung. We have already mentioned that he married his aunt. However, King Hyosung wanted his bones to be sprinkled in a Buddhist fashion. This is why his tomb, which was being built before his death, was discarded. Look at the broken turtle pedestal for steles. It's a great pity that the magnificent buildings, wooden pagodas, and the stele that used to be set in a stone tower have all disappeared, leaving just one pagoda behind, as if by magic. The more you imagine how these splendid temples for royal ancestors must have looked, the more regretful and sad you will be.